Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Garblag Games and our whatever session this one is. I think it's 5, not including session 0, of Lower Decks using the second edition Star Trek Adventure rules. We are starting a new mission today, so let's see how they go on with this one. Captain's log, stardate. Actually, I'm going to briefly pause that. I just realised I've forgotten something important. I'll get back to that in a moment. So let's introduce the cast. That would be a good plan, wouldn't it? So go for it, guys. Free for all. Or I can pick someone. Jan.
My name's Jan. My character's called Ngao. I'm a Cation Starfleet security officer. And I like playing with triborgs.
Nick.
My name is Nick. I'm playing Scon, who is a Vulcan science rookie officer who likes meditation, doesn't like triborgs so much.
Roger.
Hi, I'm Roger, and I'm playing Ensign Danny Thatcher, the rookie Abagosian.
With a Abagosian dragon dog.
Oh, well, of course, with Tucker, the Abagosian dragon dog.
I actually remembered that without having to scrabble through my pad to find where I'd written it down. Rupert.
I'm Rupert. I'm playing Ensign Tanan Essa, the Bajoran ensign engineering officer. I always get that wrong. I got the right department this time.
All good, all good. And I'm Richard. I'm the games master. So back to where I was about to go before I remembered we hadn't done the introductions. Captain's log, stardate 58202.8. We've been assigned to perform a long overdue maintenance overhaul on Subspace Relay 6 Station 2103, an uncrewed beacon that's more than 5 years past its scheduled 10-year checkup due to a bureaucratic mix-up. Apparently, a Zylubian, that's not easy to pronounce, Zylubian records officer who counted in base 8 confused the station with 1091 and logged it as already maintained. The station has remained functional, but with a weakened signal and occasional dropouts. Repairs have been in low priority due to the station's remote location, but Admiral McCormick complained to Starfleet when Starbase 245 missed the crucial final minute of the cross-sector Parisi Squares finals. So here we are. My hope is that repairs will be simple, so we'll have time to do a quick follow-up survey of the nearby Shawani system, whose second planet was last visited 30 years ago and was found to host a humanoid species at about class F on the industrial scale, corresponding to mid-20th century on Earth. Societies at that level can change rapidly, so it's worth taking another look. So you guys wake up in your corridor, very much like what's behind Roger. You awake for the start of your shift, and your data pads show they either ping with your duty log schedule, or there's been a silent alert, depending on how you have your pad set up.
Maintenance, my favourite thing. Whoopee!
You are indeed being sent to the subspace relay station as to maintain the station itself.
So we're on an away mission.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is exciting. I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully I won't pick up anything on my boot this time.
I was thinking the same thing. No worries, no worries.
So much to break in a new place.
So for the players, for the players' reference, but those people who've seen more Star Trek will have more of an understanding. There was a station scene in the Next Generation episode Aquiel, Aquiel. I'm presuming that's how you pronounce it. And it's approximately that sort of type. So a compact control room holding various consoles and catwalks, and a couple of small crew cabins, but with a massive array of telescopes and power stations and solar panels and all that sort of thing around. Oh, excuse me, around it. So I'm presuming you gather your things. Do you want to? Are you saying anything to each other as you wake up in the beginning of your shift? Or
Hey, Taryn, what's your relay maintenance knowledge?
Oh, well, I think I've done a lot of repairs of relays at home, but I'm not sure that I've ever done one this big and this old. So I'm excited to see how it reacts to being maintained after all this time.
Yeah, make sure you've got the latest schematics.
Oh, I don't need those.
The captain
Fine,
will be
it's
looking for
ancient
that.
technology.
They'll be looking for prior knowledge.
Who's looking? Oh, the officers.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they're looking for us to actually do it properly, I think.
What they want is panache. They want pizzazz as I maintain the array. They want to see me do it with a skip in my step and a glint in my eye.
And no blue screens of death this time.
No, it's quite dangerous actually on in a Starfleet vessel when you get a blue screen of death. It tends to be attached to blue lasers of death.
I did see quite an amusing two picture meme, and it had the classic next gen crew with all of them being young and Data sitting there. The next, sorry, it's a three panel. The next one was a picture of the updating screen, and then the next one was of them from the Picard show, when Picard TV show, when they were way in the future and actually on the Enterprise D again. Sorry, and it says, "Captain, the update is complete." So, I believe, Roger, you were going to say something.
I was just going to say, Thatcher's probably just excitedly humming some tune in his head, probably annoying everyone with his just utter obscene enthusiasm.
Thatcher is very, very enthusiastic. I mean, even this has gotten to Tucker. Tucker's tail is going 10 to the dozen, and it's almost to the point where there's like a midpoint through the torso of this dog, and everything south of that is wagging. Everything north of that is kind of quivering with excitement. And you all recognize the song or the tune that Thatcher is whistling, which is the What We Do in the Collective mockumentary series. A series about a film crew who have been allowed on a Borg cube to interview and follow their adventures and follow their life as part of a documentary. In fact, the latest episode is, you were just watching it last night, but we will cover that in a little while. Nick, is Scon doing anything specific?
Scon's debating whether to Vulcan nerve pinch Danny's enthusiasm, but decides like probably not the time. Thinks about it.
I have a feeling that some senior Vulcans will be taking Scon aside, explaining things. Not the senior
Can't just
officers.
do this all the time.
Yeah. All of a sudden, yes, Admiral. Yeah. What are you doing? Yes. For those who may not have watched last episode, Scon was being talked to by the Chief Science Officer and the Chief Medical Officer, and decided partway through to go, no pinch.
But to be fair, that was from rolling 2 nat 20s. And
It was a complication, but it was still. I think we broke
it is rational. So
no problem. You start preparing yourself. You pull your uniforms on, or pull the bits on that you're not already wearing, and put anything away that you need to put away. And then you pick up your pads, you read through it properly, and you head towards the shuttle. In the shuttle bay, you are being assigned to the Snoopy, or using its official name, the Shuttle Beagle. To
I always think they should have called this one Porthos. No idea why it got called Snoopy.
its actual official name is Beagle. It's just someone else decided to shuttle, but the number 4 on it, they kind of painted around that to make it the Snoopy face and decided, Beagle, Snoopy, you know. But admittedly, Porthos would have been a more appropriate name.
This is just Tennant speaking, not me. Yeah.
No. So you make your way to the shuttle. Are you getting anything on your way? Are you getting any specific equipment or any preparations in place?
Don't know. Does the engineer require anything more than the usual multi-screwdriver?
I think between practicing his quick draw of his tricorder from his belt to try and get maximum showmanship out of this, I think Tanan is sort of trying desperately to make sure that he's got the most reliable of all the equipment, so he isn't picking up anything that's new. He's picking up the stuff that looks battered and old and trustworthy.
Can I have a control and security roll from Tennant, please? Let's just see how well this quick drawing of tricorders go.
Or I'm
Oh,
hoping he
man.
rolls a double 20 and just flings it into someone's face.
Control and security, you said, yes?
I can
That's one
assist you
success.
if you like.
Never.
How are we starting on 0 momentum?
0 momentum. I have 8 threat, so 2 per player. Okay, so yeah, Tennant is doing the whole quick drawing the tricorder. It's very much he catches it as it's just about to leave his hand. On occasion, it's kind of yeah. So no problem. You grab those bits and pieces. Does anybody want to pick up anything else, or
Is there anything in our brief that would indicate anything we'd need?
I mean, no. Basically, it's just there's this relay. Go and repair it. That's basically the entirety of your.
So I'm assuming we'd try and figure out what's wrong and then just ask them to transport anything we needed.
Yeah.
Can I try and get clearance for Tucker to join me?
Sure. I mean, the relay station has, although it's unmanned, there's space there for people. So you'll be going in a shuttle. You'll be docking. The whole thing will have atmosphere. They don't have a massive problem with Tucker being there. Obviously, you take Tucker at your own risk. That's
Yeah,
all.
I'll bring his favourite toy to keep him occupied.
No worries. It's a licensed squeaky toy. Think squeaky rubber chicken, but it's a Borg drone. It's a squeaky Borg drone. And it's squeaking a lot as Tucker is chewing on it. And it's missing a couple of bits of detail where it's kind of slightly melting from some of his drool, but still in reasonable condition. So no problem. So you head to the shuttle, you get onto it. Who's piloting?
None of us lot. Tucker.
Yeah, if no one else volunteers, oh, I'd like to fly. I've no idea if I'm any good at it, but I'll give it a go.
Yeah. I don't know.
You can.
I'll assist you. I can assist you.
You can always say we get a support character pilot.
Where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that you know that is an option. Okay.
The support character pilot's like on the deck, and we've already like gone. Like,
Oh, yeah.
We're supposed to be flying this. We're like, we're fine. We're good.
No problem. So that will be a control and con roll.
Control and
Con.
con. Oh, I'm not too awful.
Con is your flying and piloting and driving skill.
1 success.
No problem. So you bundle into the back of the shuttle Beagle. The door starts sliding up, and with exuberance, Danny Thatcher slides into the pilot seat. almost before there's probably a going through the door going, Bagsy,
Yeah.
Bagsy me, pilot. Sort of jumps in, lolloping gait of Tucker behind him, who settles down on his feet. Thankfully,
And only once we're well underway does Danny reveal that he's never done this for real. He's only ever done it in a simulator.
and as the shuttle gingerly, with some swaying, lifts up off the flight deck, starts heading to that beautiful glowing force field as the doors slide open. Coming out from one of the other rooms is a pilot
Scraping it.
going,
Yeah. Do you run him over?
and you fly off, leaving the pilot behind. No worries. It's not the smoothest flight you've ever had, but there's no paint being left behind on either surface. And no force field nodes have been damaged or shorted out. So, not bad.
Yeah, that was the first 50 feet.
Yeah.
But you're now out of the shuttle bay, which means unless you back up until you get to the subspace relay, there's nothing there. So
Challenge accepted.
Quote Rick and Morty, literally everything is in space.
you fly towards the subspace relay. To begin with, it doesn't look that big. You're kind of, is this going to be something that docks on the outside? Is there some kind of shuttle bay on that? Do we have to do an EV to get from the shuttle into the subspace relay? But it doesn't take very long for you to get close enough to realize this thing is huge. The main section you're going to be in is relatively small, but it's probably at least the size of, I would guesstimate the main control area is probably at least the size of the NX-01 saucer section. So it's a decent size. You could probably get, if this was all designed around rooms and quarters and all that thing, you could probably get a good 50 to 60 people in here. With all the equipment on it, it's probably nowhere near that. But, it's a decent size. But you will be, when you get closer, you realize you are going to have to dock on. So I am going to ask for another piloting roll. And this time I'm going to say that the complication range is 19 and 20.
Can anyone assist?
You can assist as a co-pilot.
Even saying, slow down and mind, stop. Left, no, the other left.
I will say, because you're despite being rookies, only two of you are rookies. You do have transporters on this shuttle, so in theory you could transport across and just leave it in parking orbit. I think the shuttle should be able to assist you as well in this particular case, which we didn't do in the initial piloting role, but assume that it wasn't fully online at that point. So if you're going to do a piloting to try to park it, then we can do that. If you want to beam across, then that's another thing entirely.
Mark it. I've already rolled for it. So.
Okay, no problem. So is someone going to try to assist?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay.
Control and con, you said, yeah?
It depends on how you're assisting. As previously, if you can come up with a way that makes sense, then largely we can come up with another combination that suits you more.
I'm using my reason by looking out the windows and telling him left hand down a bit, that sort of thing.
Okay, so I'm going to say I'm happy with reason, but I will say that will be command. Reason, command.
Okay. Well, I have one success.
Okay.
I
have one success and a complication.
Okay, so you are using a shuttle. So does someone else want to roll for the ship? Single dice assistance as with a normal assistance, and it will be engines and con. My God, that's really low. So total of 4.
Total of 4.
Total of 4. Engines
Does the
3,
ship
con 1.
does the ship count as sort of like a member of the team, sort of thing?
Where there are certain occasions when you're doing things when it makes sense. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Bear with me. That may change. 6. I was looking at shuttle pod.
Brilliant.
Not much better, but it's better. I was looking at the shuttle on the shuttlecraft.
Mechanics-wise, does the ship count as an ally?
The ship does count as an assistance in certain cases.
Right.
So if you're using the sensors on the main ship, if you're firing the weapons on your starship, then the ship would also be able to assist as part of the task.
Right. Okay. Do we know the difficulty level that we need?
You basically it's assistance, so it's whatever successes you get will add to Rogers. Assuming you did get one, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But your target number is going to be 6 or below.
Sure, but do we know how many successes we need?
I mean, realistically, 1. You've succeeded already.
Right, I'll roll for the ship then, because
Yep.
it can only help us, or roll another.
Or roll
No,
another
16.
complication for more hilarity.
Yeah, no, 16.
Oh.
It's failed by miles.
Okay, so that's 1 success from Thatcher, 1 success from Ngao, 1 success from the shuttle. Let me just shut my alarm off because my medicate the cat alarm has just gone off.
Reminder.
But you also have a complication. Now you have a choice. You can either buy off the complication or suffer the complication. It's your call. It will cost you 2 threat or 2 momentum.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
No problem. Okay, so a complication for a piloting check that's you succeeded. Okay, so you bring
Perhaps it's a bit bumpy and someone like smacks their head on like something. It's like unexpectedly jolted it.
What about got correctly but upside down?
I like that.
On the ceiling.
Yes. So bring the shuttle round, smooth as you like. There's the hiss seal of the shuttle attaching the rear of the shuttle attaching to the subspace array. No problems at all. The door slides down, and as the shuttle and the subspace array become one, gravity is no longer currently pointing in the direction you were originally thinking it was. And you're heading towards what was the ceiling. Can I have a fitness and security roll from everybody, please? This is going to be difficulty. I'm going to say this is difficulty 0. Complications will be bad. I'll just allow this for a building of momentum thing.
How do traits work?
If you have a trait that you think is appropriate to the task, and you can convince me of that, then either it allows you to make something possible that would be impossible, easier, it reduces the difficulty block by 1, or the opposite, if it's something that would make it more difficult or
Okay.
impossible.
This was fitness and security, right?
It was, yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
going to
Use
say,
a-
would our new one, enthusiastic accident, work?
I think it
We'll
would
use
fit
it.
perfectly, to be quite honest. But there is a minimum difficulty 0, and it is already
Yeah.
difficulty 0.
Can I use a focus of martial arts to try and land on my feet?
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. All right, so I got a 3, which is 2 successes, and a nat 20.
Okay.
Yes.
No problem.
Yes, 2 fails myself.
I got 2 successes. I rolled a 2 and a 3.
No problem.
Oh,
Jan?
man.
2 successes.
Fancy.
Okay, so no problem. The door opens. Gravity suddenly is in the direction you were expecting. Could you roll me for Tucker, please, as well?
Let's see. Yeah.
I believe I did give him some stats.
So how are we doing for momentum now?
5
I've
momentum.
lost track.
You got 5. You've just built up 5.
I
5
don't
extra.
think I've
or
got any
as long as-
stones for him.
You've got maximum 5. So, well, let's assume. Let's give him a target number of. He's a dragon dog, so he's not going to be quite as dexterous as a cat, but he's certainly going to be more dexterous, I think, than a human. So let's give him 12.
Oh dear, he failed.
Okay.
What's
So-
the complication range?
Just standard 20.
Oh, good. You rolled a 19 and a 16.
So all of a sudden, you're heading for the ceiling. Danny Thatcher, Ngao, Scon land almost perfect squirrel / superhero 3-point landing.
Excuse me, I'm a cat. Of course I landed on my feet.
Of course.
However, actually, I'm going to roll a dice. So on a 1 to 7, it's going to be Thatcher. Up to 14, it's going to be Scon. Everything else is going to be Ngao. It's Scon. So the first one, Scon is in that really good landing on top of Tenon.
Right.
And
Right, so
Ngao has landed on top of Tucker.
all right. So I have the thing because I've rolled fitness because I've untapped potential and I've rolled a 2.
Mhm.
So we get 1 momentum for that. And also Tenon failed it. So we get a momentum for that as well. So 2 extra.
No, which leaves you with 1 point of instant momentum that you have to use or lose.
All right.
So with you all on the ceiling and several of you on other members, what do you want to do with this point of instant momentum?
What can we do with it again? Sorry, remind me.
That's fine. You can do things like, for 1 point, you can get an extra minor action, not really relevant at this point. Obtain information, so you can ask a single question about the scene. Buying additional D20s, although that I don't think that's necessarily relevant at this particular point. For 2, you can create or alter a trait. Don't think there's much more that's relevant at this stage. Although, if you have another thing that you'd like to try, you can always pitch it to me. The worst you'll get is, I don't think that really works.
Could we spend 2 to give us the the trait we know how to fix our situation?
I'm happy to do that. Is that the terminology you want to use? Can anyone suggest something?
Yeah, I was thinking, well, more like relevant to us, very specific one, not like a general one.
Oh, right.
Like we know how to correct our gravitational situation.
Get our bearings.
Yeah.
As a
Bag
ref,
boots is what
I
I'm
would-
saying.
as a ref, I would say you don't really need a trait for that. You could create a trait that you can easily correct the situation with the shuttle, so that when you're leaving,
Yeah, basically that's what I'm going for. Where I go, I remember you're supposed to rotate yourself to match where you're going. I
So-
always forgot that in the simulator.
so everyone was happy with that. That's going to take another point of momentum out of the pot.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No worries. So you have that temporary trait. Let's put that into somebody put that into the thing, or
Into the traits thing.
yeah. Am I doing it or someone else doing it? I'm happy with either way.
I can do it. What's the wording again?
Correcting our gravitational issues.
Although to be fair, I think there are occasions that the gravitational pit isn't necessarily as useful a word. Correcting your issues might be more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to make
that
it
would apply
short.
to everything now.
Yeah.
That seems a bit cheeky.
No worries. So you,
Situation orientation might be a good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a temporary trait unless you want to spend the momentum to make it permanent.
No, it doesn't seem like it'd be a permanent one.
No worries. So, Jan, how much of what happened did you hear?
All of it. I didn't leave the room. I just temporarily to the side.
No worries. So, Scon is currently, I'm going to say, Tennant basically tried to catch himself and basically landed on his stomach. And so, Scon is kind of 3-point landing on
Yeah.
Tennant. Ngao, you kind of land on the back of Tucker, the dragon dog.
And immediately revert to type and leap off him like a scalded cat.
Including hissing.
Yes.
No worries. You look over and Ngao's uniform is a bit more full than normal as the hackles
Is
are
the tail
under the
is
uniform.
the tail out?
Yeah. Ears are fat.
Yeah. The big eyes.
No worries. But you can sort yourself out, not a problem.
Clamber back up to the pilot's seat and shut the door.
No worries. So you're looking inside this relay station. The first area you're actually seeing is the main control area. There are a couple of corridors leading off. You think mainly to some of the more internal areas, which maybe power systems and the things you should be able to access from inside the thing, as well as the personal quarters for anyone stationed on here, which currently there are no people stationed here. It is very quiet apart from the gentle humming of the power systems. On the
Are there normally people here?
No, it's set up so that there could be, but there currently aren't. I mean, possibly when this was first built, they may have had people keeping an eye on the Shawani system from a distance, doing a little bit of research on them. Maybe if it's a situation where this area is, so there's something going on and they need to keep an eye on it, they might sort of assign people here, but at the moment, not at all. So in general, it's not really a manned place. What you can see is on the wall beside the docking port that you just come out of, you didn't spot when you first came out, there is a lockers, the appropriate lockers for spacesuits, so you could do EV work. There's at least one more airlock on this thing, so even with a shuttle attached, you can do EV work if needed. There's also a main living area, sort of staff area that's got a replicator, which seems to be functional. So you've got some bits of maintenance to do. So things like degaussing, component swap out, system checks, checking the complex subspace antenna relay. Some of those you need to be outside to do. Checking the computer systems. Who wants to do what?
Is there anything near the near the hatch we've come in, which is about knee or to thigh height?
Probably. Let's say, for the sake of argument, an emergency kit, which is for the rare occasion where you have someone who actually has vacuum problems.
So Hanan is going to stride purposefully up to this thing and sort of brace one leg on it, almost like, the pioneer looking out onto the horizon, and attempt to quick draw the tricorder.
A Riker maneuver, no problem. So, would you like to make that dice roll that we did earlier again?
Yeah, sure. We'll give it another go.
Panache.
Yes.
What was it again? Sorry, it was
control and security.
Security. Oh, that's 2 successes.
Nice. So you got a point of momentum back, so you're up to full again. So yes, Tennant goes over 1 foot on this piece of equipment in a very Commander Riker move look, and quick draws his tricorder like he's been doing it for years. So, who wants to do what in the maintenance side of things?
Is there anything medical related?
I mean, in theory, there will be medical equipment here for when they've got staff actually there. So you could, in theory, do a check of the inventory of medical.
All right, I will run diagnostics and check the medical area. Well, it seems the logical place to start. So.
I mean, other things. Most of the stuff they're after is the things that makes the thing tick. So you will be able to do some of the things like degaussing components, swapping things out, and all that sort of stuff. It's drudge work. It's lower deck ensign work, but yeah, you can start with the medical side of things. And
all right, I'll start by thoroughly cleaning the medical, whatever drudge work there is.
No problem. No.
Enthusiastically humming still.
Cool.
I'll just pick the closest, room or section or department and go to that and start doing the donkey work in there.
That's probably the main computer system.
Sure. I'll just go for that. Like you say, this is stuff we've probably done all this stuff. This is training stuff, right?
Oh yeah,
so we do have an idea of what we're meant to do.
You have been trained. You've gone through Starfleet Academy. You've done the necessary to be assigned as ensigns. You've done your cadet by this point.
Sure. This is like being pot washers in a pub. I'm just going to go to the sink and start like pot washer. Do you know what I mean?
Or just the engineer, the maintenance crew on a railway line, or you're here to do regular updates on this piece of equipment.
Yeah.
What's Tenon doing apart from looking dashing?
Tenon performs. He looks at the tricorder and knowing full well what the state of the array is, because we've already been briefed on this and what needs doing, but he wants to impress everyone, right? So he looks at the tricorder, having pretended to scan, and goes, "Egads, there's more Teslas in here on this station than in a 20th century corporate car park on Earth."
Very good.
We best get degaussing, chums.
So are you going to put on a spacesuit and go out and do bits on the exterior, or are you going to...
Yeah, sure. I think Tanan will get his best degaussing equipment, which I assume is like a grounding wire, basically. gets in a spacesuit.
No worries. I'm presuming you remember to pick up the degaussing equipment after the suit is on, rather than sticking it into your belt.
Obeying the space laws, I shall also suit up and go outside in accordance with the standard buddy system.
No worries.
Because obviously people inside can't see if people outside suddenly go floating off so easy. So I'll join Tenon in my own spacesuit.
No worries. So we'll start with you two, because that's kind of a bit more of a sidestep. So you get your suits on, you go to the other airlock, and you exit to the exterior of the thing. And it is, once you're outside and on the surface of this thing, it seems so much bigger. I mean, the actual main living and control area is quite small, but the varying surfaces, all the solar panels, all the subspace arrays are just they're stretching off. It's probably going to be at least a kilometre in any direction of this satellite, this relay station.
Yeah.
So let's have from the both of you what would it be? I'm going to say control and security to do your immediate spacewalk to the first section you need to be really working on. Do you wish to buy any dice? We have 6 points of momentum.
I've already rolled, but I'll let Jan, just sorry.
Yeah,
Jumped the gun.
I'll have one.
No worries.
That will be 3 successes.
Cool. So, how many successes did you get, Rupert?
I got 2.
Okay, so that is 1 for the. Sorry, how many? 2? How many did you get, Jan?
3.
3. So 1 for Rupert's bonuses and 2 instant points of momentum because it's only difficulty 1. But 2 points of instant that you have to spend now.
Which is the most necessary, most urgent piece of maintenance we need to do out here?
Well, largely there are a few things you'll need to do, and I mean it's going to be just you go through it bit by bit, but degaussing the station in general. There's going to be a number of areas where there's issues, particle build-up and all that sort of stuff. Component swap out. Some of them are going to be inside, some of them are going to be outside. So you need to take that piece of machinery off and replace it with this piece of machinery. Any one of those is, you go to the nearest piece and start working on it.
Yeah.
Some checks on the complex subspace antenna array. I think mostly will be inside, but there's probably exterior bits you can be handling. So what I'll say before we switch to the other 2 is, can I have a reason and engineering role, and whatever Jan wants to do to assist, assuming you're assisting, you can do the role separately and add to that.
Yep, I'll go reason and engineering because we're out here doing engineering-y type stuff.
Is that your assisting or is that your rolling dice?
I'm assisting.
No worries. Again, since Tenon appears to be doing the dice roll, do you wish to buy additional dice? I'm going to say this is going to be difficulty 2.
Yes. I will buy 2 additional.
2 additional dice? No worries. Did you decide what you were going to do with your 2 instant points of momentum, by the way?
I'll start spending them on additional information.
Okay, so let's do that quickly. So, one point of momentum. Ask a question.
I did.
What was your question?
Which is the most urgent thing to do out here?
That's not going to be an obtain information. That's something you can just have.
Okay.
That piece there, it's not a.
Are there any imminently going to explode bits?
Again, I'm not going to charge you for that. No. It's working. The only reason they sent you here is because an admiral and a starbase missed the last little bit of the Parisi Squares tournament.
Can we know which bit failed to cause that problem?
Sure. That'll be one. That's going to be primarily a computer systems glitch. So that's going to be more an inside thing. There may have been some damage, maybe some micrometeor strikes in certain areas which may have affected that. So if they hit certain power nodules, then maybe a feedback of power may have caused issues with the programming. Okay, and you have one more instant momentum, which you can either use or lose.
I don't know. Do either of the other 2 have anything that they think we should find out about?
And you've got communication, so you can be discussing things. I'm going to take that as a no.
I think we'll just let it go because.
I think before you let it go, why don't you take that and 1 other momentum and make a trait rather than waste it?
Okay.
Make a trait of
efficient cleaning or something.
Yeah.
Could we have a temporary trait to do with being good at EVAs? Just I've realised that we got to where we are, but we still have to get back.
Nice.
Yes.
If everyone's happy with that?
Yeah.
Trait. Efficient EVA. Okie dokie. No worries. So I will take an additional point of momentum off that. So, Jan, do you want to? So you're currently down to 2 points of momentum and 8 threat,
Okay.
including the 3 points that
Okay.
Rupert's spending for his dice roll that he's about to make.
Actually, I'll just spend one then, because I don't want to rob the pool too much.
Okay, so you're now down to 4 momentum and you've got 8 threat.
Okay.
Okay, so Jan, do you want to make your dice roll and then
I have made my dice roll and I had 1 success.
go?
Oh, I got a nat 20 and then 2 successes.
Okay,
Seems to be a thread of
20s.
this evening's game.
okay, so
Success and fail.
So you're back up to 5 momentum, no problem. So you start working on this maintenance, shifting components, changing things out. As you pull a component, there's a brief. It's a felt more than a heard because in space, not much noise, but you feel the crackle of energy as you pull a component. As you realize you've forgotten to switch the power off for that particular component. So basically, you're going to be defeated by a stunning blast unless you decide to spend 3 points of stress to avoid that being defeated.
I'll spend 3 points of stress then. I've not done this before, so
This is something that normally happens within combat. If someone shoots you, then there's a severity to the weapon, and that's how much stress you have to take. So you go to remove this component, and you in your hurry you've forgotten to flick the breakers off before you remove that, and there's a crackle, and you kind of, for a brief moment, we see Ensign Essa do the electric boogaloo inside his spacesuit. And there's like as he kind of gets himself back to normal, there's kind of slightly frazzled hair, and there's just wisps of smoke within the helmet.
not felt like that since my orb experience.
Wow. Didn't know you were going in for a new hairdo while we were out here.
Oh, gotta have a new hairdo because there's no other air in space. But that was really bad. I couldn't.
Yeah. Wow.
So we'll leave you outside. Bad kitty.
I want to come back in, and then I want to go back out again. At least twice.
That's about right.
Yeah. Just open the door and shut it again.
So no problem. We'll switch into the inside. So Scone and Thatcher. Thatcher, your stuff, I don't think it's even a dice roll necessarily. You can easily go through and just scrub everything down. Pretty much everything that's supposed to be is here. There's maybe a couple of hypersprays missing, but that's not unusual. You know, someone else could have been here like 5 years ago to do maintenance, or 15 years ago, sorry, to do maintenance, and took those because they electrified themselves or something.
I replicate some replacements for that sort of thing. I want to leave it exactly as it should be.
You can do that. I mean, even if it came down to you get the bits from your ship and bring them over if they're not replicatable drugs. Either way, you can handle it. You may even have in your medical kit the kind of things that are missing because they're fairly standard things, but you can absolutely do that. It's not a problem. And currently Tucker is curled up. He's managed somehow to get onto the really small biobed they have in this station, which is about probably best part of a meter off the floor. But he's managed to get up there and he's curled up, sort of squeaky Borg kind of hugging it, and there's a definite look of not very impressed. He's still a bit peed off by having had Ngao land on him. He's most indignant.
I'll give him a fuss to try and cheer him up.
He accepts it, he enjoys it, but there's definitely still a degree of.
When we're back on the ship, I'll get you a new toy.
He perks up a little bit. So, Scon, would you care to make me a? This is going to be, I'd say, most likely insight and. Let's see. It says on. Do you give me a? Is there a sheet here that tells me what the skills, sorry, departments, I should say, are? Trying to remember them off the top of my head. There's I've got lots of cards that came with varying extra bits that I got, and none of them are useful at this point. Okay, so let's call this a control and science roll.
All right.
As
I'm
you
going to
start
buy.
with computer systems.
I'm going to buy 1 dice.
No worries.
Can I use a focus of logic? Maybe.
Yeah, I think that'd fit. I think that'd fit.
All right. And what do I need? Is it 1 or 2 successes?
This is going to be difficulty 2.
All right. So I've got 1, 2, 3 successes.
No problem. So you put your point of momentum back, unless you want to use it for something. You start going through the computer system. It's going to take a little bit more work to get it back to full capacity. Largely, what you're going to need to do is defrag the computer system, do the update, clear the cache, delete your cookies, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And you started to go through there. I'm going to say, if you want to spend a point of momentum for obtain information, there is information you could have.
All right, I will spend a point to obtain information.
No problem.
If someone can give me an idea of what.
That will bring you. I think your numbers are slightly off. You're up 4. I think 4 points of momentum.
Well, I got 3 successes. Do we need 1 or 2? We need 2.
I think I said 2. Did I say 2?
All right, my bad. So yeah, cool. I think you did.
Okay.
So we're on 4.
Your piece of information that you have is this. What you're discovering is that there is one of the main subspace antennae is suffering signal loss because the transmission seemed weaker than normal. What you can tell is that the antenna is malfunctioning in a way that causes it to emit part of its unencrypted signal on conventional electromagnetic radio frequencies. So basically, what's happening is in standard EM radio signal, it is transmitting the classified Starfleet data as well as more conventional reports, and it's going directly to the nearby Shawani system 3 light years away.
Okay. So I have a talent called Studious, which means when I obtain information, I get 2 for 1.
Yep.
So can anyone think of another question relating to that? Assuming also that I comms this all to you and explain exactly what it means, and I totally understand. And you all completely understand.
So before you go to asking a second question, Nick, did that what I say make sense to you? Is there anything you need me to clarify?
It's one of the things is maybe damaged, but it's also releasing classified information to somewhere.
Yes, it's pointing to the nearby star system, who's, although they're not at warp capacity, they're still considered to be a pre-warp species. They do have the technology, in theory, to receive the transmissions.
Right. Okay.
I mean, can we
My
can
thoughts
be
on the
told
question.
exactly what we might have accidentally sent them? Here's the theory to make nuclear weapons. Have fun, kids.
No,
Well,
but here's,
either that, or are we going to ask, has it been done on purpose?
here's the last 20
But I-
episodes of
Oh,
How
that's
with
a
the
good one.
Kardashians.
So what I'm,
Yeah.
Was it done maliciously? Was a
What-
good one.
what I'm going to say before you get into that, currently you got one question because of Nick's because of Scon's studious. You have 4 more points of momentum, and they're straight. You can buy more questions, so you can ask as many of those questions as you want. So don't feel you have to limit yourself to just
Yeah.
one of those. So,
Was it done deliberately? Is a good one.
My nerdy
But
question
then I'm
would be-
assuming that when we see the thing that's been damaged, we'll be able to tell, will we? Because it's not just.
yeah, it's not.
Was it maintenance? Did it disintegrate because of lack of maintenance, or was it deliberately?
It's probably a combination of lack of maintenance and micrometer impact or something along those lines. It's not a malicious thing.
Damn micrometeors.
Rupert, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to ask, can we tell how long it's been doing that? Because if it's under 3
Oh,
years,
that's a good idea.
we're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. I'll ask that. Can we tell how long it's been doing that for?
You can absolutely tell. It's been for the last. Let me just see if I can see where it was quickly. I think it was about 12 years.
Okay.
So, let's say about 12 years for the time being. When I actually find it in documents here, I may retcon that slightly, but I think it's about 12 years.
All right, cool.
We've got 9
Yeah,
years
that's
of
a lot.
information on that planet that shouldn't be there.
Split up.
Without you guys know immediately that this is a prime directive nightmare.
Looks like we
What's
told them how
our,
to make proton torpedoes.
Yeah. What's our mission directives, Richard, for this mission?
Well, your basic mission directives, as always, are uphold the prime directive. That's always a directive.
Right.
But also, perform maintenance, get the station back up and running, basically.
All right. Cool. Does anyone have any other questions we could spend? Because I still always get 2 for 1. So if you can think of a worthwhile spend.
Can we tell what information we've sent them? Because providing a detailed list to stuff the captain could be a good idea.
You go on to you can go onto the computer systems and query that, but as soon as you put your identification in, it says basically insufficient clearance.
Go away, yeah. Okay.
Can we question? Can we patch this computer back to through to our own enterprise, Trajan, for people senior to us to be able to do that level of thing? If ours is if as Ensigns, if we can't activate it or what's it? Access. That's the word. Somebody,
hard.
can we patch it through to the Cajun for a senior officer to
You could
do the necessaries?
You could if you report it to the bridge, then they can access it from the bridge.
Right. Thank you. I didn't know who were able to do that. So.
Sure. So are you doing that? Is it who's if you're doing that, who's doing it?
We're still out on the array.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. We're on the array. We're just talking through the comms.
It'd probably make most sense for me. I'm probably the least busy out of everyone.
Yeah. Can you communicate that one back, please, Danny?
Certainly, I'll comm the ship right away.
Well, we don't want any more. We don't want any more information leaking, do we?
All right, I will immediately comm the ship.
team, this is the bridge. Report.
There appears to be a slight issue with the station. It appears to have been transmitting highly classified Starfleet information to the planet, and I'll list off whatever its designation is.
Chawani 3.
We cannot tell precisely what information. We do not have clearance to see it.
As you're starting to say that second part, there is a sharp intake of breath that from the way that from the sound of it, it's probably your first officer, followed by a sound that's very much a slap of the forehead, and your Andorian captain going, "Holy shit!" At which point,
do we know? Sorry, Richard. Do we know how long what we do? The collective has been running. Has been running for 12 years.
12 years.
it's been about 12 years. Yeah.
It's been doing it for 12 years, sir.
Oh
Minute.
my god. Okay.
Well, at least this is one cock up we're not responsible for.
Yeah. Bear with me. We'll get back to you. Communication ends. Ngao and Tenon, can I have a insight and security? This is a vision-based skill roll.
Okay.
2 successes.
So 2 successes.
Okay, so you're back up to maximum momentum. Within about 2 minutes of the communication ending from Vincent Thatcher,
Why are they firing photon torpedoes?
you
Come out here.
see the El Cajon maneuver and then jump to warp.
Oh,
What it has done, that Scon and Thatcher will get, is it sent a communique specifically to the computer, to Scon on the computer systems, basically to the main readout. And it appears to be a set of coordinates.
okay. Well, I'll come to you guys and tell you all that, but I'm sure you guys outside will have just seen it.
Let's not
Bam.
run away on us. What's going on?
Now, all you've got is a set of coordinates. They've not said anything about them doing anything. They've just
No, but we have just seen the ship.
Yeah. No, I mean specifically for Scon and Thatcher. You've
Yeah.
just seen it, but Scon and Thatcher, well, unless you say
Some
something,
coordinates.
there's just some coordinates have just popped up.
Guys,
Oh.
El Cajon has just vamoosed. It's turned and warped out the system. It's gone. We're on our own.
I'm sure they know what they're doing. I'm sure they'll be back to pick us up shortly.
Yeah, maybe. They've sent us some coordinates. Can I have a look and see where those coordinates are? Are they
Is
like
it the planet?
It is in
Yeah.
the planet, yeah,
the planet?
or close to the planet.
Right, okay.
Is it close enough that our shuttle can?
You've got a warp capable shuttle, so you can,
Okay. I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't too sure if it was just I wasn't too sure if you just got the local bus or if we'd actually got one that can go between towns.
Yeah.
by this era, most shuttles are warp capable. There might be 2 shuttle pods, smaller shuttlecraft, but
Whilst they're floating out here, I think Anand's going to look out across the array, being aware that they are now alone. Sort of go and sort of go on the communications channel. Have you guys ever watched that time Vija destroyed the array Epsilon 9? No, just make cool. Cool, yeah. No reason.
Yeah. It's awfully lonely out here, isn't it?
Can I start looking up on the computer how to fix the array? That's probably a bit outside his expertise.
you can absolutely do that. I'm not even going to make you make a dice roll for it. It's data retrieval. So you go to one of the consoles, you start typing that in. It'll take you probably 5 or 10 minutes at most. And I mean, basically, there's a whole list of procedures to go through, in line by line, easy to follow. You might need a few components that you need to get from the El Cajon, but within a week or 2 of work, you can get this thing back up and functioning and stop it from transmitting anything.
Well, I'd probably, as soon as I've done that, start doing whatever I need to do to start repairing this thing.
Sure.
Because suddenly that might be high priority for Starfleet.
Yeah.
No
Is
worries.
there Tanan would probably want to be talking to Danny and ask, like, is there anything we can unplug to stop it transmitting? I mean, it's not really going to do a lot because it will take 3 years for the transmission to stop. But
Yeah, true.
On the main console, there's a button you can press that will basically put the system to sleep.
Oh, off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
brilliant.
So you're doing that?
Yeah, I'm just going to stop the transmissions.
No worries.
Nice.
in 3 years, we're golden, lads. We've done it.
Don't worry about the other years. They don't count.
No worries. So you switch it down. What you're doing now? I mean, currently, Ngao and Tenon are outside, basically just pulling out components and swapping them. You all have to come back in at least on a couple of occasions to get more components because there's only so much you can carry with you at any time, even in 0G.
Well, we're going to be here a while. I'm going to replicate myself some kind of music. Oh no, can I just get the computer to play music?
And can I
Annoyingly
suggest that
happy,
because this
upbeat
is lower
music.
decks and we probably have spare more components than we need? Is that something that's true? Or
Some of the components you can replicate. So the ones that you can replicate they weren't even provided to you. You just go to the computer and replicate the components you need because you've got the replicator there.
Okay. Tenon suggests that he stands where the component needs to be and someone else tries to wang it at him from the airlock.
Thatcher is so in.
The only issue with that is the time between, unless you're going to completely depressurize the array and have both airlock doors wide open as you're doing this, it's going to the amount of time in between.
Well, can you not just replicate 20 of them and carry them to the airlock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just start
Tenon
yeeting them
can be
across.
there,
Yeah.
lobbing
Catapult.
them whilst his dog tries to catch up with.
Have you brought Thatcher's spacesuit? Tucker's spacesuit, sorry.
Yes, I would have done.
Okay, so you're going to spend some time doing the maintenance. Is that correct?
But in a stupid way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
No
Well,
problem.
there's no one to supervise us, so yeah, I'll be hurling objects towards it.
No problem. I'm going to spend 2 points of threat.
Oh,
You absolutely do the maintenance. The maintenance is going to take you probably about 6 hours to do.
Alright.
You have had to replicate a few extra components as some of them are heading towards Shawani at sublight speeds. There are a good 24 components traveling in the void of space between the subspace array and the Shawani system.
I mean, can we try and shoot some of them?
Did anyone bring a phaser?
we brought a
Yes,
shuttle.
I've got hand
Yeah,
phasers.
I've got a hand phase, just a
focus
hand
is
one, not
given
the big fancy rifle ones.
Yeah.
Apart from Ngao, most of you will have the little tiny car remote
Yeah.
size rather
Yeah.
than hand. So if you want to, absolutely, you can make a control and security roll. I'm going to say that the difficulty, because of range, by the time you realize that they're going a bit out of range, are you doing it when you've finished, or are you doing it when the first one goes?
Oh no! If one kind of starts going astray and drifting off to space, we'll try and shoot it.
Okay,
Mostly because it's fun.
yeah, no worries. I'm going to say that this will be a difficulty of 3 because it's very small. Between you throwing it and grabbing for your phaser, with the lack of air density, it's going already, and it's dark. Actually, I'm also going to make it a 19 or a 20 complication range because you were throwing it toward one of your crewmen.
I mean, can I assist by also shooting, as in rather than everyone rolling individually, someone rolling and the extra dice is just extra shots going in towards it?
Oh, sure.
I will assist someone who's probably better at shooting than me.
I don't think Tenan's going to be very good
What's
at
the skill?
shooting.
What's it?
It's only
Shooting?
us, isn't it?
It's going to be control and security.
I have 13.
I will
I have
assist,
14.
No,
I will
you're.
assist
Shall I do
one
it?
of them because they're both better than I am.
Yeah, they're both
Where
better
would
than
Scon
me.
be at this point, bearing in mind that Scon is a Vulcan and laws out the computer systems? Would Scon be involved in this?
I don't think. I think he's just carrying on watching the defrag
I'll do it.
lines on the computer. Yeah.
No worries.
I'll do it. I'll take 1 extra dice.
Because Ngao is doing the primary shooting, I'm going to not do the complication range 19 or 20 because she's over by where Tenon is. So that aspect is not going to be as much of a thing.
I'll support by adding weight of fire.
Yeah.
No worries.
Oh,
Pressing fire in case it shoots back.
Can we use enthusiastic accident for this
Oh, yeah. Most
to
definitely.
reduce the
Yeah.
difficulty by 1?
Brilliant.
No problem.
Yeah,
So difficulty now 2.
Can I use my focus of hand phaser?
Oh, yes. That would be very appropriate.
In that case, I will have 4 successes.
That's good because I
On
added
3 dice.
nothing.
Nice.
Okay. So the difficulty of 2, you got 4, which is 3 points of momentum. So you're back up to full and you have.
I thought it was a difficulty of 3.
It was, but the enthusiastic accident trait, which Roger mentioned, got it down to 2.
All right. Okay.
So you've got 2 points of instant momentum that has to be used or lost. So what do you want to do with those?
How successful are we? Am I?
You've hit the first one that got thrown. There's an immediate phaser out and a small sparking and tiny like crystal fragments, or what's left of it, as it kind of evaporates away.
Ain't it fun?
Can we use it to shot more of the things?
You can use it to. All we'll do is we'll spend those 2 to effectively create a trait, which is there's no components heading towards Shawani. You
Raising the evidence.
Tidied up. We raise the evidence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you basically do exactly that. So this absolutely happens. You lob a component towards 10 and you lob another one. You lob another one. One goes missing. And Gao grabs a phaser.
like, "Ooh, finally he missed.
And Gao grabs a phaser, shoots the component. Meanwhile, in the background, Ensign Thatcher is going zap, 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 zap. It's going everywhere.
Looks like a great light show, though.
Yeah.
So no problem. But 5 hours and you've done all the maintenance required. Apart from
Probably took more like 7 hours because I was sticking around.
apart from the bit that needs to be done to properly correct this issue that with the transmissions being sent, although you have switched it off for the time being, that's going to take several days to properly complete. You'll need the resources of the El Cajon to actually properly do it. Everything else is done. So
Nice.
once the El Cajon comes back and you get this fixed, then the whole thing is back
I
up.
mean, can we make a start doing the bits we can?
You're missing a lot of bits. And I mean, you've got you were given the coordinates for Shawani, and you know that the El Cajon has gone that way.
In which case, then it's like a holiday.
Oh, I have an idea. Can we run a scan of the ship? Sorry, not of the ship, of the array for anything that is about 12 years old?
What do you mean by that? What specific?
Anything that is new to the station environment, or anything that has been on the station for 12 years. So anything that's been exposed to the various flavors of radiation that that space station will be exposed to for about 12 years.
Every part of the station. It's
Okay, cool.
that old. There's no, apart from the bits you've replaced, it's not been touched since before that point.
Cool, yeah. I was just wondering if there was something sinister lurking around that we had.
That's all good. You're fairly sure, just as a point to note for the characters, you're fairly sure that now that what you've done, they'll probably want you to return to the alcohol, because there's only so much you can do with, you don't have to.
So
No
our
zero
little
G
shuttle,
sword fighting.
upside down little shuttle, is still here, right? That's not the
Yep.
Alcon.
Yeah,
Oh, no, we
So
turned
can we
that the
just-
right way around.
that's great. The Beagle is
Okay.
still there, and
The Beagle, yeah, the Snoopy.
Yeah.
So can we just jump on the Snoopy now and go to the coordinates?
Sorry.
I just look at these lot like shooting things in space. What are they even doing?
That was fun. Danny, where did you learn to shoot?
Just that.
Learn.
.com.
Question mark.
I think there was a lesson at the academy once.
okay, that's how you handle a phaser. Right, let's get him into the medical track.
Yes. Yes, every successful fleet officer, there is a space for them.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes it's standing there holding the gel packs in place. No problem. So what you doing now? You gonna gather up your stuff and
Yeah.
Hop in the pilot's seat and go like, right.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yep. Head over
Yeah.
to Chihuano, whatever it is.
no problem. So you detach from. I'm not going to worry about the getting the whole thing the right way round or anything like that. You get into the shuttle. You can get there fine. Tucker's slightly more reluctant, but will do it. And is sitting at the complete opposite side of the shuttle from now, and definitely a certain amount of, there's a stink face coming off of Tucker at the moment. But you detach, you put in the coordinates, and you jump to warp speed. Captain's log supplemental. So the situation on Shawani 2 is, as reported by the science officer and the first officer and the lower deckers involved in the repairs, cannot be allowed to stand. Starfleet is responsible for disrupting the Shawani's culture, so that makes it our responsibility to remove the contamination. The first officer will lead a landing party disguised as Shawani in order to infiltrate the central mainframe. The science officer is constructing a virus that will seek out and delete all Starfleet data throughout the Shawani's centralized computer network, though it will need to be introduced directly into the mainframe they call Library Computer. I asked the Chief Medical Officer if there was a way to delete the Shawani's own memories of Starfleet. Turns out there is a way in theory, but that would erase all associated memories as well, leaving the entire population with amnesia about most of the past decade. The way my last decade has gone, that sounds almost appealing, but doing it to a whole civilization doesn't fit any definition of non-interference I've ever heard of. But along with the relay station repair, deleting the existing data will at least prevent further contamination. At this point, that's the best we can hope for. So you arrive back at the El Cajon. Almost as soon as you have gotten aboard, you are brought to a meeting room with the captain, with the first officer, with your heads of department.
Oh boy, we're in trouble again.
Oh, naughty schoolboy pose.
Oh boy, we're in trouble again.
And then
Okay.
desperately avoiding eye contact with the chief of engineering once again.
So this is where we are. We've since you sent us this information. We've got into Shawani orbit. Our shields should prevent them from picking us up, so we are effectively cloaked. That's not a problem. What is a problem is we had some of the other officers scan the surface of the planet and monitor the signals. Planet appears to be in the late 20th century level, with satellite communication of EM, radio, and video signals, and limited computer data networks. They are on a par with Kirk era. of those old scientist level of computer systems. Now, the Shawani are a typical bumpy-headed humanoid species. They have been picking up Starfleet. Yes, that's what it says in the paperwork.
Typical bumpy-headed humanoid species.
They've been picking up the data for more than a dozen years. Not only have they translated the unencrypted signals, but the entire culture has been influenced by them. The Shawani eagerly follow the reports of Starfleet vessels' adventures. People write books about their missions, sell Starfleet-styled memorabilia, debate who's the best captain, cosplay as their favorite aliens, and so forth. There are subcultures that have embraced Vulcan, Klingon, Bajoran, and other alien philosophies and customs. The distance from the relay means that the information is only current through 2378. They have only just learned of Voyager's return from the Delta Quadrant and have been binge-watching the reports of its adventures. Though many Shawani did find them unbelievable and have many questions about the crew's behavior. The Shawani's discussions include references to classified developments during the Dominion War, which the ship's computer largely redacted from the people who were actually doing the work on monitoring the systems, even though the Shawani were getting it unfiltered. The limited computer network is highly centralized, relying heavily on a single central mainframe called the library computer, after the old Starfleet term. The urban areas around the library computer center appear to be the most technologically advanced and prosperous on the planet, showing signs of anachronistic advancement based on Federation technological principles. All in all, the situation on Shawani 2 is a prime directive nightmare, an extreme case of cultural contamination that's entirely Starfleet's fault. So they, having briefed you to that point, and basically you are then questioned of, you know, what did you see? What seems to be the situation on the station, on the relay station? How could this have happened? Is there any sign of any contamination, any malicious intent? All those kinds of things. There's a good half an hour to an hour of you being debriefed. Anything specific you are telling them? Anything specific you are not telling them?
Specifically not telling them about us dicking about while fixing things.
Fair.
Yeah, not unreasonable.
But we will have told them that, you know, we
Couldn't
turned
detect-
off the communications and that there's still 3 more years worth en route to the planet.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. Right. Well, thank you for your assistance so far, and well done on reporting it to us so quickly. We were able to move in and start investigating much more swiftly than some ensigns would have done. So well done. Hopefully we'll be able to get onto this fairly quickly. I will pass you over to to Commander Hames for your next assignments. But he will have to keep it quick since he has an away team to put together. And everyone else stands up and leaves. Right. Again, well done. As the captain said, your activities, your quick thinking with regard to that information is commendable. And he starts handing out pads to each of you with basically crew assignments, which involve crew anomaly consumable. Jesus Christ, what is wrong with me today? Consolidation. I hate the English language. It hurts. So you each get given different things. There's a tenon. There's a Jeffries tube down near engineering that seems to have developed a Pyrithian bat situation. Deal with it. There's probably going to be some eggs down there. Remember to make sure this time that you put the really thick gloves on, because I'm fairly sure that our medical officer is sick of regenerating skin from chemical burns on hands. Ensign Thatcher, the how do I put this? Commander Grayson needs his colonoscopy done. The medical officer is going to, once she's dealt with the away team, be leading you through that procedure. Ensign Scon, I believe there's an experiment currently being performed. They could do with another set of hands to hold the patient down. Ensign Gao, I believe you have a patrol to do.
Sir.
We cut to the first officer, having gathered his small away team, traipse into the medical, into the sick bay. Ensign Thatcher watches as, once she's set you to do what she needs you to do, she starts doing the what's the word I'm looking for? Starts doing cosmetic surgery, minor cosmetic surgery, adding random bumps that match kind of the Shawani look. They're already wearing uniforms that look like someone sat up until 3 o'clock in the morning before a convention and sewed them into, made them up. The comm badges look like they're plastic. The rank insignia are just slightly off. And then, once that's done, they stand up, they move toward the nearest transporter room, and with a sprinkling of lights, they disappear. Captain turns to the transporter chief and says, "Well, let's just hope that goes." At which point there is a beeping noise, an urgent "beam us up!" And the transporter chief immediately presses the button, does the relevant things on the controller, and they reappear. The first officer is standing there with a look of shock on his face. The senior, the chief science officer, is standing looking somewhat shell-shocked. And sorry, let's see. Which officer did I say it was? I've lost my mind.
Science
officer. Lieutenant, Commander Sabra is basically her uniform tunic is almost in tatters. There is a big red lipstick mark on her cheek. And they all look a little bit worn, shall we say. And as Sabra starts walking out with she's not upset, she's not in any she's not suffering from anything, but there's definitely a degree of confusion of they jumped us. As soon as we arrived, they jumped us. One of them asked me for my autograph. And they are led out of the room. At this point, your comm badges go off, wherever you may be. Report to briefing room 2.
All right.
As you arrive, Captain's there, sort of leaning into her hand. First officer is standing there, looking somewhat discomforted, but back in a normal suit and without the bumpies. Okay. We managed to beam into the Shawani city. We thought we beamed out of sight of anybody. As soon as we stepped out on the thoroughfare, people seemed to recognize us, even with the cosmetic surgery, and immediately tried to throng into us and get autographs. And I'm fairly sure Commander Sabra would have been. Yes, well, let's not get to. Let's not concentrate on that.
Okay. What's that got to do with us?
What we saw was that the Shawani seem to have really picked up on the certain aspects of Starfleet. So he starts bringing up onto a screen things that you can see. And basically, this looks like the planet of the Starfleet convention. Starfleet fans. This is the planet of the fans. There are people there. There are subtle tricorder scans showing people with the bumpy-headed effect of their species, but with pointed ears. There's some with the nose ridge and the earring. Some of them are wearing them in a culturally inappropriate way, but then they don't know much better. There are one or two people who kind of look a bit like Caitians, but I mean, we're talking
ears on a headband.
Ears on a headband, a tail that's kind of sort of attached, and it's kind of a very bit floaty. There are people in Klingon garb. There are people in Cardassian garb. All of them look like this species, but dressed up as... There's even a Ferengi that you see.
Right.
And you're also seeing shops selling all manner of Starfleet mugs, Starfleet pads, Starfleet uniforms of all varying types, from TOS era to the current era. Model starships are on sale. There is a mug that's on sale, which is the shape of Chancellor Martok's head. It would appear that their fascination with these broadcasts has affected all areas of their culture. In fact, from what we can tell, they were in some kind of war situation between several of the nation states until they started receiving these communications. And using the things they learned, they actually somehow managed to turn their culture around using. However, this is still a Prime Directive nightmare. And since they seem to recognize us, we have decided that the best way of handling this is, and at this point the captain pipes up and says, the best way of handling this is to send down a bunch of people that very rarely make it into the official reports. A bunch of no ones. Well done.
Flattered.
Do you want us to help you find someone?
Well done for volunteering. Report to sick.
All right.
I'm
Those 10 reports to sick bay.
So you head to sick bay. By the time you get to sick bay, there have been some uniforms manufactured, replicated, that look, again, like the kind of costumes that you were seeing on Planet. The comm badges, while they look plastic, have been cunningly disguised to actually be comm badges.
Disguised as comm badges?
Yes, comm badges disguised as fake comm badges.
And do we have fake tricorders?
There are tricordery things. There are all of you are only getting the Phaser Mark 1, the little ones, the hideable ones.
Oh.
No one's taking a full phaser because this is a Prime Directive pre-warp culture situation. So we can't have full phaser. We do not want phaser fights in the streets. This is for emergency use only.
If they're
Okay, so phaser fights
badges.
inside buildings. Got it.
If they're fake con badges, does that make them con badges?
Oh,
Oh.
Okay, so this is what's going to happen. We're going to beam you down. You're going to get as the medical officer is doing these cosmetic changes. We're going to beam you down. You need to find the library computer. Find out what you can about the situation down there. If you wish to get more information, which we're quite happy for you to do, make sure you get somewhere out of sight before you communicate with us. Okay?
Okay.
So the directives of this mission are: prevent the dissemination of classified Starfleet records and intelligence. Some of this will be obviously retroactive. Junior officers are encouraged to show initiative and devise their own solutions, so long as it matches the Prime Directive. Junior officers are required to obey the chain of command. And first contacts initiated by alien civilizations should be handled by the highest ranking Starfleet officer available. Which means if you do need a senior officer, find somewhere out of the way to communicate with us and we will advise you. Any questions?
What language do they speak down there?
Doesn't matter. You've got your comm badges, which have got universal translators built into them.
Okay.
So
You've got Babelfish.
yes, you are all made up to look like a Shawani versions of yourselves. So the bumps are added to your head. Ngao, the ears are made to look a little bit less real. The whiskers look like they've been tacked on. The fur's a little bit less plush and soft than it was, and your tail is paralyzed to look like one of the fake tails.
That's horrible.
Do you keep falling over?
I will.
It will only last for
I'm going to throw my balance off chronic.
you've got 20 minutes to get used to it before we send you down. But by the time when you get back, everything will be set back. You'll be fine.
I don't know what you're talking about, Danny. You can't even take Tucker with you.
Yeah.
Tucker,
You can't disguise him as a lumpy head, can you?
Oh,
it's all right. Tucker will. There are animals down there. There are whippet moles that have. So we'll just disguise him as that, and they do a few bits of change to make him look like a whippet. Whippet mole thing that's got the add-ons that someone's created to make it look like a non-local animal.
Oh, because we're dressing up, or we're pretending to dress up, does this mean that Nan can get an exception to put his earring back on?
He's allowed to wear his earring at any point.
Oh, okay. Well, he hasn't been wearing it, so.
No, I thought that was a thing that you had decided as the character. No, the earrings are fine.
Yes, I think I did decide it for the character. I just completely forgot. Sorry about that.
That's right.
Yes, now,
Not a problem.
Now,
Cool.
But it makes sense at this particular point for you to be wearing it. No worries. So as your makeup is being applied, there's a couple of nurses in the background just chatting. Oh, did you see the last episode of What We Do in the Collective? Yeah, it's really weird. I remember they were having. And at this point, you remember what was happening on this particular episode. The last episode in What We Do in the Collective, the mockumentary about the Borg Collective. You see the camera being moved around, someone actually holding it, the shaky version of someone holding it. No, none of these steady cams or anything like that. And this movement around the Borg cube, as you would normally see. And it cuts to a small room where there is a stool sitting in the middle of the room. Makes no sense for the to be a stool, but there is a stool. Sitting on it is a Borg drone. And the entire Borg collective on this cube are saying, it is interesting being a drone in the Borg. We have been brought here to bring perfection. This one is 9 of 1. He was assimilated because his species were particularly good with mathematics. At which point, alarms go off. Suddenly the interview stops, and the Borg drone stands up and leaves at a normal Borg drone rate, pursued at a leisurely pace by the cameras. Outside, we cut to a battle between the Borg cube and a Romulan warbird. and it's very much a quick flash piece of filming. Eventually, you see Borg drones beaming onto this Romulan warbird, and then the next thing you see is the camera crew inside the Borg cube, seeing these now Borg drone Romulans going past, all of them dressed in the normal kind of garb of a Romulan crew, barring the now extra pieces of Borg componentry. As one goes past, it is in fact holding a small furry bundle about the size of a kumquat with Borg components as it wanders past. The last one, just a bog standard lowly Romulan crewman, comes into the room with the stall, sits down and turns to the crewman and says, "Where were we?" And cuts back to you in the medical bay, you discussing this really weird scene in the What We Do in the Collective program. Well, I wonder where they got the idea for these tripods. Terrible. Nothing's a secret anymore. Nothing's top secret. Nothing's classified anymore. And I think this is a good point to call it. It's now 10:15. So, thank you to my wonderful players for playing. Thank you for everybody for watching, and we will look forward to seeing you to see what happens next with this crew when they beam down to Shawani 2. See you all.